You know, I've watched people my entire life, and I've noticed something fascinating. Most folks are sitting around waiting for some kind of miracle to happen, some big break that's going to change everything, when the truth is they're already standing right on top of one. They just don't see it. The miracle isn't out there somewhere in the future. It's right here, right now, in the choices you make today, this very hour, this very moment. Let me tell you something that changed my life when I finally understood it. Success isn't this big, mysterious thing that only happens to lucky people or people with special talents. It's not magic. It's not even that complicated. Success is simply the natural result of consistently applying basic fundamentals. That's it. Nothing fancy. But here's where most people miss it completely. They underestimate the value of doing the simple disciplines every single day, and they underestimate the cost of neglecting them. I call it the apple a day philosophy. You've heard the old saying, right? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now, if I asked you to eat an apple today, would that be difficult? Of course not. It's easy to do. You could walk to your kitchen right now, grab an apple, and eat it. But here's the question that'll make you think. If you don't eat that apple today, will it kill you? Will you wake up tomorrow with some terrible disease? No, of course not. Not eating the apple is also easy to do. And that right there is the great challenge of life. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. That's the formula for failure, my friend. You can skip the apple today, and nothing bad happens. You can skip it tomorrow, and you'll be just fine. You can skip it for a week, a month, 6 months, and you won't see any immediate disaster. But here's what happens. Those small errors in judgment, repeated every day over time, compound into major disasters. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're wondering why your health has failed you, why you don't have the energy you used to have, why you feel old before your time. And the answer? It was the apples you didn't eat. It was the small, simple disciplines you neglected. But flip that coin over and look at the other side. If you eat that apple today, will you feel amazing tomorrow? Will all your health problems disappear? No. The results aren't immediate. You eat an apple today, and nothing much happens. You eat one tomorrow, nothing spectacular. You keep eating one every day for a week, and you won't see much difference. But you keep it up, day after day, month after month, year after year, and those small disciplines compound into major achievements. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're vibrant, healthy, full of energy, and people are asking you what your secret is. And the secret? It was the apples you did eat. It was the simple disciplines you practiced when nobody was watching, when there was no immediate reward, when it didn't seem to matter. This is how life works in every area, not just health. Your finances work this way. Your relationships work this way. Your personal growth works this way. Everything important operates on this principle of compounding, the slight edge, as I like to call it. Small disciplines or small errors in judgment, repeated consistently over time, create the difference between success and failure, between living well and living poorly. Let me share something from my own life. When I was 25 years old, I was broke. I mean really broke. I had pennies in my pocket and more dreams than sense. I was working hard. I really was. But I wasn't getting anywhere. I was frustrated, confused, and starting to think maybe success just wasn't meant for people like me. Maybe I didn't have what it takes. Maybe I was born on the wrong side of the tracks or missed out on some special opportunity. Then I met a man who became my mentor, and he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Jim, you don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour." That hit me like a thunderbolt. I'd been showing up, putting in time, going through the motions, but I wasn't bringing any real value. I wasn't investing in myself. I wasn't reading, wasn't learning, wasn't growing. I was just existing, doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. That's when I made a decision that changed everything. I decided to spend 30 minutes every day reading books that could make me better. 30 minutes out of a whole day. But I committed to it. Every single day, no matter what. And let me tell you, nothing magical happened the first day. I didn't wake up smarter or richer or more successful the next morning. The second day, same thing. Nothing spectacular. After a week, I still looked the same, still had the same problems, still had the same bank account, but I kept going. I kept showing up for those 30 minutes every day. And here's what happened. Slowly, gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, I started to change. My thinking changed. My conversations changed. The way I approached problems changed. I started seeing opportunities I'd been blind to before. I started making better decisions. I started bringing more value to every hour of my day. And my results? They started changing too. That was over 40 years ago, and I haven't stopped that habit since. 30 minutes a day of feeding my mind, improving myself, investing in my own growth. Some days it's been longer than 30 minutes, but never less. And when I look back at the person I was at 25 and the person I became, I can trace almost everything back to that one simple discipline, practiced daily, compounded over time. You see, discipline is like farming. A farmer plants seeds in the spring, and then what happens? Nothing. Not right away. Those seeds sit in the ground. The farmer tends the soil, pulls the weeds, waters when needed, but for a while you can't see anything happening. An amateur might get discouraged. They might think, this isn't working, I've been at this for weeks and there's nothing to show for it. But the farmer knows better. The farmer understands the principle of the harvest. He knows that if he keeps doing the right things day after day, the harvest is inevitable. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That's what daily discipline does for you. You're planting seeds every single day with your choices, your habits, your actions. You might not see anything happening at first. You might get discouraged. You might think all this effort isn't worth it because there's no immediate payoff. But I'm telling you, if you keep planting good seeds, if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the simple disciplines day after day, your harvest is coming. It's a law of nature. It's as certain as the seasons. The problem is, most people don't think in terms of seasons. They think in terms of days or weeks. They try something for a little while, don't see immediate results, and quit. Then they try something else, don't see immediate results, and quit again. They spend their whole lives starting and stopping, never staying with anything long enough to see the compounding effect take hold. They're like a farmer who plants seeds, then digs them up a week later to see if they're growing, then plants different seeds somewhere else, then digs those up too. That farmer is never going to harvest anything but frustration. Here's another way to think about it. Every day, you're either adding to your life or subtracting from it. There's no neutral. You can't just coast. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. The discipline of reading 30 minutes a day adds to your knowledge, your wisdom, your value. The neglect of not reading subtracts from your potential, your growth, your future. The discipline of exercise adds to your health, your energy, your vitality. The neglect of not exercising subtracts from your strength, your stamina, your quality of life. And it all starts so small, so simple. That's the beauty of it, but that's also the danger. The disciplines are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. Nobody's forcing you to read. Nobody's making you exercise. Nobody's checking to make sure you're eating right or managing your money wisely or treating people with kindness and respect. You can skip it today, and the world keeps turning. But you know what? You're the one who has to live with the accumulated results of all those choices. I've learned that we don't get paid for the hour we work. We get paid for the value we bring to the hour. And how do you bring more value? By becoming more valuable. And how do you become more valuable? Through the daily disciplines of personal growth and development. It's like putting money in the bank. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every habit you build, it's all going into your personal account. And just like money in the bank, it compounds. The more you put in, the more interest you earn, and the faster it grows. But here's what most people do. They want to make withdrawals from an account they never made deposits into. They want success without the discipline. They want the harvest without planting the seeds. They want the rewards without putting in the work. And then they're confused and frustrated when life doesn't give them what they want. They think life isn't fair, that the system is rigged, that other people just got lucky. But the truth is much simpler and much harder to accept. They just never did the work. They never practiced the daily disciplines. They chose what was easy and comfortable in the moment, and now they're paying for it. The good news is this: it's never too late to start. You might be thinking, Jim, I've wasted so much time. I've made so many mistakes. I should have started this years ago. Maybe you should have. But you can't change the past. What you can change is what you do today, right now, this moment. You can start planting better seeds. You can start practicing the simple disciplines. And if you do, I promise you, your life will start to change. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually, consistently, inevitably. Now, here's what I find absolutely fascinating about human nature. We know what we should do. Deep down, every single one of us knows the right choices to make. We know we should read more, exercise regularly, save money, eat better, spend quality time with our families. Nobody needs me to tell them these things. The information is out there everywhere. We're not suffering from a lack of knowledge, we're suffering from a lack of execution, and that's a completely different problem. So why don't we do what we know we should do? Why is there this gap between knowing and doing? Let me tell you, this is where the real battle happens. It's not out there in the world. It's right here inside each of us. It's the battle between what's easy and what's right, between what feels good now and what will be good for us later, between our current comfort and our future success. Here's what happens. You wake up in the morning with good intentions. You're going to read that book. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to eat healthy. You're going to work on that important project. But then something interesting occurs. A little voice shows up. I call it the voice of rationalization. And this voice is incredibly creative, incredibly persuasive. It says, you know what? You can start tomorrow. You're tired today. You deserve a break. You've been working so hard. One more day won't make any difference. And you know what? That voice is right about one thing. One more day won't make any difference. Missing your workout today won't make you out of shape. Skipping your reading today won't make you ignorant. Eating junk food today won't make you unhealthy. Not saving money today won't make you broke. One day doesn't matter. And that's exactly the trap. I learned something years ago that I call the law of diminishing intent. It says this: the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds are you'll never actually do it. You know that feeling when you get inspired, maybe you attend a seminar, or you read a great book, or you have a conversation that fires you up. In that moment, you're ready to change the world. You're going to transform your life. You can feel it. That's intent. That's motivation. And it's a beautiful thing. But here's what most people don't understand. Intent has a shelf life. Motivation fades. That fire you feel today will be a flicker tomorrow and might be completely gone next week if you don't act on it. I've watched this happen thousands of times. Someone comes to one of my seminars, all excited, takes notes, makes plans, and I can see it in their eyes. They're ready to change. Then I see them a year later, and nothing's different. Same problems, same complaints, same life. What happened? The law of diminishing intent. They waited. They said, I'll start on Monday, or I'll begin next month, or after the holidays, and the intent just evaporated like water in the desert sun. The truth is, we are where we are because of the choices we've made. Our current bank account is the result of our past financial decisions. Our current health is the result of our past lifestyle choices. Our current relationships are the result of how we've treated people. Our current knowledge is the result of what we've read and learned. There's no mystery here. We designed our current life, whether we want to admit it or not. We designed it by default or by design, but either way, we designed it. That's a hard pill to swallow, I know. It's much easier to blame circumstances, to point at the economy or our upbringing or our boss or our spouse or just plain bad luck. But blaming doesn't change anything. It just keeps us stuck. The moment you accept that you are where you are because of you, that's the same moment you gain the power to change it. Because if you got yourself here, you can get yourself somewhere else. Let me tell you about the power of small neglects. They work just like small disciplines, but in reverse. You neglect your health a little bit each day. Eating poorly, not exercising, not getting enough sleep. Nothing terrible happens immediately. You feel fine. But those small neglects are compounding, accumulating, building up like interest on a debt you didn't know you were taking on. Then one day, 10 years down the road, the bill comes due. Heart disease, diabetes, chronic fatigue, and you're shocked. You say, how did this happen? But it didn't happen suddenly. It happened slowly, one small neglect at a time. Same thing with your finances. You spend a little more than you earn. You skip saving this month. You put it on the credit card just this once. Except it's not just once. It's month after month, year after year. Small neglects, barely noticeable in the moment, compounding into financial disaster. Then you wonder why you're drowning in debt, why you have no cushion, why you're one emergency away from catastrophe. It was the small neglects, repeated daily over time. Your relationships work the same way. You neglect to really listen to your spouse. You're too busy, too tired, too distracted. You neglect to spend quality time with your children. You'll do it next weekend, you promise yourself. You neglect to call your parents, to maintain your friendships, to invest in the people who matter most. Small neglects. Easy to justify in the moment, but they compound. And one day you wake up feeling alone, disconnected, wondering where all the closeness went. It was the small neglects. Here's what I've learned. We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Let me say that again because it's important. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. The pain of discipline is getting up when you don't feel like it. It's doing the workout when you'd rather sit on the couch. It's reading when you'd rather watch television. It's saving money when you'd rather spend it. It's having the difficult conversation instead of avoiding it. It's choosing the salad when you want the burger. These are small pains, temporary discomforts, minor sacrifices. They weigh ounces. But the pain of regret, that's looking back at a wasted life. That's knowing you had potential you never developed. That's broken relationships that could have been saved. That's health you destroyed through neglect. That's dreams you were too afraid to pursue. That's the person you could have become but never did. That pain is heavy. It crushes people. It weighs tons. The beautiful thing about discipline is that once you make it your friend, once you stop fighting it and start embracing it, it gets easier. Not easy, but easier. Your capacity grows. You get stronger. What used to require tremendous willpower becomes automatic. That's the power of habit. You're literally rewiring your brain, building new pathways, creating a new normal for yourself. But you have to start. You have to take that first step today, right now, while the intent is still fresh. Because tomorrow, it'll be harder. Next week, harder still. The voice of rationalization gets louder the longer you wait. Don't give it that power. Now, let me tell you what really happens when you start practicing these daily disciplines. Something shifts inside you that goes way beyond the practical results. Yes, your bank account grows, your health improves, your knowledge expands. All of that is real and measurable. But there's something else, something deeper that most people don't talk about. Your character changes. The person you see in the mirror starts to look different, not physically, but in a way that's even more profound. You see, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're building something. Every time you say you're going to do something and you actually do it, you're making a deposit into your personal integrity account. And every time you break a promise to yourself, you make a withdrawal. Most people are running around with overdrawn integrity accounts, and they wonder why they don't believe in themselves, why they lack confidence, why they feel stuck. Here's what I discovered. The moment I started honoring my commitments to myself, even the small ones, everything changed. When I said I was going to read for 30 minutes and I did it, something clicked. When I said I was going to exercise and I followed through, I stood a little taller. It wasn't about the reading or the exercise themselves. It was about proving to myself that my word meant something. that I was someone who did what he said he would do. That's real confidence, my friend. Not the fake kind that comes from trying to impress other people. Not the shallow kind that disappears the moment you face a challenge. I'm talking about deep, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can count on yourself. That's what daily discipline builds. Think about the 5 major pieces of the life puzzle: your philosophy, your attitude, your activity, your results, and your lifestyle. They're all connected, and discipline is the thread that weaves through every single one of them. When you practice discipline in one area, it creates ripples that spread to all the others. You can't compartmentalize this stuff. You can't be disciplined in your business and undisciplined in your health and expect it not to affect everything else. Life doesn't work that way. I'll give you an example from my own experience. When I started my morning routine years ago, it was simple. I'd wake up early, spend time reading, planning my day, getting my mind right before the world started making demands on me. That was just about productivity at first. But then something interesting happened. Because I was starting my day with discipline, I found myself making better choices throughout the day. I was more patient with people. I made wiser financial decisions. I had more energy for my family in the evenings. One disciplined habit created a cascade of positive changes I never anticipated. And here's the really powerful part. When you become disciplined, you start to see yourself differently. You're no longer someone who just reacts to life, who gets tossed around by circumstances, who hopes things work out. You become someone who creates, who builds, who designs their own life. You shift from passenger to driver. And once that shift happens in your mind, there's no going back. Let me tell you something about attractiveness. I'm not talking about physical appearance. I'm talking about becoming attractive to success, to opportunity, to the right people and circumstances. Here's the principle. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you want more success, you must become more valuable. If you want better relationships, you must become a better person. If you want life to change, you must change. Most people have this backwards. They think if they just get the success, then they'll develop discipline. If they just get the money, then they'll start managing it wisely. If they just find the right person, then they'll become a better partner. But it doesn't work that way. You have to become the person first, then the results follow. You have to build the discipline first, then the success comes. The new version of yourself that emerges through daily discipline operates from a completely different set of standards. Things that used to be acceptable aren't anymore. The old excuses don't work. The old shortcuts don't tempt you. You've raised the bar on yourself, and once you raise it, it's almost impossible to lower it back down. You've tasted what it feels like to be disciplined, to be in control, to be building something real, and the old way of living just doesn't satisfy you anymore. This is what I mean when I say daily discipline builds a completely new version of you. It's not an exaggeration. It's not motivational fluff. It's the literal truth. The disciplined version of you thinks differently, acts differently, responds to challenges differently, and gets different results. You're not just improving the old you. You're becoming someone entirely new. So you've been practicing the disciplines, you're seeing some results, feeling some changes. Now comes the real question. How do you keep this going? How do you make this a lifestyle instead of just another phase you go through? Because let me tell you, I've seen plenty of people get excited, start strong, make progress, and then drift right back to where they started. The question isn't how to start. The question is how to stay. Here's what I've learned over all these years. You have to make a fundamental decision about how you're going to live your life. Are you going to live by design or by default? Most people live by default. They take whatever comes. They accept whatever happens. They react to circumstances instead of creating them. But disciplined people, successful people, they live by design. They decide what they want their life to look like, and then they design it through their daily choices and habits. Living by design means you wake up with intention. You don't just stumble into your day and see what happens. You have a plan. You know what matters. You've thought about where you're going and what it's going to take to get there. And every single day you're making deposits toward that future you're building. That's not restriction. That's freedom. Real freedom comes from discipline. not from just doing whatever you feel like in the moment. Let me talk to you about measuring progress, because this is where a lot of people get discouraged. They expect dramatic changes overnight, and when they don't see them, they quit. But success doesn't work that way. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Notice that word progressive. It means moving forward, making progress, getting better bit by bit. It's not about arriving at some final destination where everything is perfect. It's about the journey of becoming. You need to learn to celebrate the small wins. Did you keep your commitment today? That's a win. Did you read when you said you would? That's a win. Did you save money instead of spending it? Did you choose the healthy meal? Did you have the difficult conversation you'd been avoiding? These are all wins, and they matter. They're building blocks. Every single one of them is taking you closer to the person you're becoming. I've always believed that success is something you attract by the person you become. It's not something you pursue. Not really. You don't chase success. You become successful by developing yourself, by making yourself valuable, by practicing the disciplines that create excellence. And when you do that, success finds you. Opportunities show up. The right people appear. Doors open that were closed before. But it all starts with you becoming the kind of person who's ready for those opportunities. And speaking of people, let me tell you something crucial. You've got to be careful about who you spend your time with. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. The people around you have a massive influence on your thinking, your habits, your standards. If you're surrounded by people who make excuses, who settle for mediocrity, who complain instead of taking action, that's going to rub off on you. It just will. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if you're constantly around people who don't value discipline, who don't respect growth, it's going to be an uphill battle. You need people in your life who challenge you, who inspire you, who hold you to a higher standard. Find people who are further along the path than you are and learn from them. Find people who are committed to growth and excellence and spend time with them. Their habits will influence your habits. Their standards will raise your standards. Their success will show you what's possible. But here's the other side of that coin. As you grow, as you become more disciplined, as you start living by design instead of default, you also become an influence on others. Your example speaks louder than your words ever could. When people see you consistently doing what you say you're going to do, when they watch you grow and improve and achieve, it plants a seed in their minds. They start thinking, maybe I could do that too. That's legacy, my friend. That's impact. That's how you change lives without even trying. Now, let me address something important. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have days when you don't feel like it, when the discipline slips, when you make the wrong choice. This happens to everyone. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people isn't that successful people never fail. It's how they respond to failure. Disciplined people don't let one bad day become a bad week. They don't let one wrong choice become a pattern. They get back on track immediately. Here's what you do when you slip up. You don't beat yourself up. You don't spiral into guilt and self-criticism. You simply acknowledge it, learn from it, and recommit. You say, okay, that wasn't my best. Now, what am I going to do next? Because the next choice is always available to you. You always get another shot. The past is gone. You can't change it. But you can decide right now, in this moment, what you're going to do moving forward. I've also learned that continuous learning is not optional if you want to sustain a disciplined life. You've got to keep feeding your mind, keep growing, keep evolving. The world changes. You change. What worked 5 years ago might not work now. You need new ideas, new strategies, new perspectives. That's why I never stopped reading, never stopped attending seminars, never stopped learning from people who knew things I didn't know. The day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. And the day you stop growing is the day you start dying. Think about wisdom. Knowledge is important, but wisdom is different. Wisdom is knowing what to do with what you know. It's judgment. It's understanding. It's the ability to make the right choice in difficult situations. And wisdom comes from experience, from reflection, from paying attention to life's lessons. The disciplined life gives you so many opportunities to develop wisdom because you're constantly making choices, constantly facing decisions about what matters most. Here's what I want you to understand. Every single day, you're faced with a choice. You can choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. You can choose to do what's right or what's easy. You can choose to invest in yourself or neglect yourself. And those choices, accumulated over time, create your life. They create your results. They create your future. They create you. The life that's waiting for you on the other side of discipline is extraordinary. I'm not talking about perfect. I'm not promising you'll never have problems or challenges. But I am telling you that disciplined people handle those challenges differently. They have the strength, the wisdom, the resources, the character to navigate whatever comes. They're not victims of circumstance. They're creators of their own reality. And here's the beautiful truth that I want to leave with you. Discipline isn't about restriction. It's not about denying yourself or living some rigid, joyless existence. Real discipline is about freedom. It's about having the freedom to pursue your dreams because you've built the foundation to support them. It's about having the freedom to enjoy success because you earned it through your efforts. It's about having the freedom to be proud of yourself because you know you gave it everything you had. You get one life, one chance to see what you're capable of, to build something meaningful, to become the person you were meant to be. Don't waste it wishing and hoping and waiting for things to change. Change them starting today, starting right now. Practice the simple disciplines. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Do the things you know you should do, and watch what happens. Watch yourself transform into someone you hardly recognize, someone stronger, wiser, more capable than you ever imagined possible. That's the power of daily discipline. That's what builds a completely new version of you. And that new version, that's who you were meant to be all along.